You ever have that feeling that everything's just getting harder? Like you're running faster and faster, but just staying in the same place? Well, you're not imagining it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible force that's causing that feeling. And believe it or not, it all comes down to a single hidden number that's shaping our entire world. And it starts with this paradox, right? You have all of human knowledge in your pocket, endless streams of content, 24/7. And yet, at the end of the day, do you feel enlightened? Or do you just feel drained? It's a feeling so many of us have. But what if that exhaustion isn't just in your head? What if it's a symptom of a massive physical change in the very foundations of our world? The answer? Well, it begins with something we can call the invisible margin. Think of it as this hidden energy surplus that has been quietly propping up every single aspect of modern life, from our jobs to our food to our ability to sit down and just think. Okay, so there's a technical term for this, and it's called EROIE. It's actually a really simple idea. If you spend 1 barrel of oil's worth of energy to get, say, 100 barrels out of the ground, your EROIE is 100 to 1. It's a measure of efficiency. But its real meaning, it's so much bigger than that. So let's just reframe this. Forget the technical jargon for a second. The way to think about this is as our civilizational margin. It's the net energy we have left over to actually build our world after we've paid the energy bill to get that energy in the first place. This surplus, this margin, it's literally everything. And what does this margin buy us? I mean, it's not just cheap gas for your car. It pays for the slack in our systems. It's the reason we can have these incredibly long, complex supply chains. It's why we have layers of bureaucracy, specialized jobs, and even the incredible luxury for some of us to have time to just think. All of this complexity is paid for by that surplus energy. And here's the thing. For about a century, that margin wasn't just big, it was absolutely enormous. And that period of easy surplus created the world we all now think of as normal. But as we're about to see, it was anything but. You see, in the 20th century, we basically hit the energy jackpot. We found these massive, easy-to-get oil fields that gave us a mind-boggling energy surplus. This wasn't just a small step up. It was a total anomaly in human history. And it fueled this explosion of global scale. The world we take for granted, our baseline for normal, was built during this one very weird, very lucky century. And that brings us to the most crucial point. The real thing all that cheap energy bought us wasn't just convenience. It was scale. The ability to do everything bigger, faster, and across way, way bigger distances than ever before in history. I mean, just look at the world that scale built, the food in your fridge that traveled across continents, the entire system of mass higher education, the suburbs where so many people live, global air travel, even the existence of many managerial jobs. It is all built on this hidden foundation of cheap, easy energy that made it all affordable enough to seem totally normal. But here's the turn. That era of easy energy is winding down. That invisible margin we've been relying on, it's getting thinner. The squeeze is on, and it changes the feel of absolutely everything. This is what the past felt like, a world of high surplus. There was room to move, right? Room for error, room to build big things. And this is now a world of thin margins. Everything feels tighter, more constrained, more fragile. The slack is just gone. And here's why. As our energy gets harder to get, as that EROI number goes down, a bigger and bigger chunk of our entire society's effort has to get funneled right back into just getting more energy. And that, of course, leaves less surplus for everything else, from healthcare to infrastructure to education. So the result of all this isn't some sudden dramatic collapse like in the movies. No, it's more like a slow, grinding squeeze. It's that pothole that never gets fixed. It's the supply chain that snaps under a little bit of stress. It's the public service that's stretched to its absolute limit. Our systems just become more and more brittle because there's no margin left to absorb any shocks. Okay, so this squeeze is making our physical world more fragile, but the effects aren't just physical. That exact same logic of thinning margins and diminishing returns is now shaping our digital lives. It's leading directly to that feeling of exhaustion we talked about at the very beginning. Think about it. The early web felt like a high-yield space, didn't it? It was all about exploration. You could spend a little bit of time and get these huge returns in knowledge or connection. But the platform web we live on today, it has a totally different logic. It's not about exploration anymore, it's about extraction. It's a system designed to maximize throughput, to capture your attention and hold it for as long as possible. There's this incredible metaphor for what this feels like, fracking for meaning. It's perfect, right? We are putting in more and more effort, more scrolling, more clicking, more watching into this depleted information environment, and we're getting less and less durable understanding back in return. And this kicks off a vicious cycle. The platforms need to keep us engaged, so they just flood us with content. We get funneled through these endless feeds, but this fire hose of information, paradoxically, leaves us feeling depleted, not enriched. And the result? You know it, that familiar, brain-fried cognitive fatigue. So here is maybe the most important point of all of this. That private feeling you have of brain fog, of not being able to focus or think clearly, it might not be a personal failing. It might just be the predictable outcome of living inside an infrastructure that's designed for extraction. Our screens are glowing, the data is flowing, yeah, the lights are still on, but our collective ability to think clearly, to find some meaning and orientation, it really does feel like it's flickering, doesn't it? Now, I know this all sounds pretty grim, but understanding the squeeze actually lets us ask a new and I think much more useful question. In a world that has less surplus, what actually becomes valuable? The values that made sense in that age of high surplus, speed, massive scale, endless expansion, these start to become liabilities. The virtues that really matter now are quieter, they're slower. Things like maintenance, repair, proximity, and care. The work of just holding things together, not just building them bigger. And this is where we start to find those high-yield experiences again. Not in the endless scroll, but in things that demand way less energy intensity and offer a much more durable return. Things like friendship, working on something with your hands, building a real skill, just being near people. These are the things that provide real value when the whole spectacle of scale starts to fade away. So the grand challenge for us isn't trying to somehow claw our way back to the unsustainable heights of the last century. The real task is learning how to live well on thinner margins, closer to the ground. And the question that leaves us all with is, what does that actually look like for you in your life?